The sleepless nights and the shadow of the courtroom are officially over because God has just overruled the earthly verdict against your son. The crushing legal burden that has weighed on your family for years is vanishing right now through a divine breakthrough. Watch this to receive your testimony of total restoration. Something is shifting in the spiritual atmosphere around your son's situation right now, at this very moment, in ways that are beyond what any human strategy could manufacture or any legal mind could orchestrate. Heaven is moving. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who shut the mouths of lions, who walked 3 men through a furnace without a single hair being touched. That same God is walking into the courtroom of your son's life, and he is not leaving without a victory. You have been carrying this burden for so long that some days it has felt like your normal. You wake up, and the weight is already there before your feet touch the floor. You go through the motions of daily life, cooking meals, answering messages, trying to smile at the right moments. But behind every smile is a mother's ache or a father's silent grief that only God has been close enough to witness fully. Et ça, oui tellement. Every single moment of it. And he has been building something in the unseen that is about to become very visible in the natural world. There are phone calls coming this week. Unexpected ones. The kind that arrive when you have almost talked yourself out of believing anything good is still possible. The kind that come from numbers you do not recognize, carrying information you were not supposed to have access to, delivered by people who were moved by something they cannot even fully explain. God knows how to use people who do not even know they are being used. He knows how to plant a thought in someone's mind at 2 in the morning that sends them reaching for a phone by sunrise. He is doing that right now on behalf of your son. Hidden things are being uncovered. This is not the season for concealment anymore. Documents that were buried beneath layers of bureaucracy and time are being brought back to the surface. Files that seemed irrelevant are being looked at again by fresh eyes that are noticing details that were passed over before. God controls the attention of every person involved in your son's legal situation. He can make someone pause on a page they were about to skip. He can make a detail stand out that blended into the background for months. He is the God of suddenly, and suddenly someone is seeing something that changes everything. Witnesses are being stirred. There are people who have been holding back, people who know things that could alter the entire direction of this case. And the weight of that silence is becoming unbearable for them. God is not forcing anyone, but he is applying a holy pressure that makes the truth harder to hold in than to release. Someone is going to speak up. Someone who has been quiet is going to find the courage they could not locate before because heaven is strengthening them for this exact moment. Their voice is part of your son's breakthrough, and God has been preparing it all along. The legal system operates by its own rules, its own timelines, its own procedures and hierarchies. But there is a court that sits above every earthly court, and it has jurisdiction over every case that has ever been filed in any building on this earth. That court does not deal in technicalities or procedural delays. It does not favor the wealthy or the well-connected. It responds to prayer. It responds to faith that refuses to quit even when quitting would be the easiest and most understandable choice. You made that choice to keep believing, and that choice has been registered in heaven as an act of extraordinary courage. Someone in that legal system cannot sleep right now. It may be a prosecutor who keeps returning to details of this case in the quiet of the night and feeling an unease that will not settle. It may be a judge whose spirit is being stirred in ways that defy the professional distance they are trained to maintain. It may be a clerk, an assistant, someone in a supporting role who stumbles across something they were not looking for and brings it to the attention of the person who needed to see it most. God works through unexpected channels. He is not limited to the dramatic and the obvious. Sometimes the most powerful, divine interventions look like a coincidence to everyone watching except the family that has been praying. The chains that were wrapped around your son's future are not made of anything eternal. They were constructed in time by people operating with limited information in a system that was never designed to be the final word on any human life. God is the final word, and the word He is speaking over your son right now is freedom. It is restoration. It is the kind of turnaround that makes people who witness the struggle lean forward and say that they cannot explain what just happened except to say that something beyond this world was clearly involved. Think about the years this has stretched across. The holidays where the shadow of this situation sat at the table with your family even when no one named it out loud. The birthdays that were celebrated with a muted joy because. How do you celebrate fully when something this heavy is still unresolved? The ordinary days, the Tuesday afternoons and the Wednesday evenings. The moments that should have been unremarkable but were colored by a fear that never fully went away. God saw every one of those moments. He did not look away. He was not absent during the hard years. He was present, and He was working, and everything He was doing in the hidden places is about to show up in the visible ones. Grace is not a passive concept in this season. It is not simply a theological comfort or a spiritual idea that sounds beautiful in a sermon. In your son's situation, grace is an active legal force. It is moving through the paperwork. It is influencing the conversations happening in offices and hallways that you will never physically enter. It is softening hearts that had hardened. It is opening doors that were bolted shut from the inside. Grace does not need permission from the system to operate. It moves through the system and above it and around it because it answers to a higher authority than any institution built by human hands. What the enemy designed to be a permanent label on your son's life is being peeled away. Every accusation that was meant to define him, every charge that was meant to reduce him to a case number and a verdict. God is pulling those things back and revealing who your son actually is underneath all of it. He is not his worst moment. He is not the story that the prosecution constructed. He is a son of God, and heaven is in the process of making that the loudest and most undeniable truth in this entire situation. You have prayed prayers that felt like they evaporated before they reached the ceiling. You have stood in faith on days when faith felt like the most irrational choice available to you. You have chosen not to let bitterness take root, even when bitterness would have been completely understandable. Every one of those choices has been currency in the kingdom of God, and none of it has been wasted. The ritorno in ti sea son. Through a breakthrough that is going to produce a testimony so clear and so undeniable that your family will spend years telling it to other people who are sitting exactly where you were sitting. The burden is lifting right now as you watch this. Something is releasing in the spirit. Something that has pressed down on your family for far too long is losing its grip, because the hand of God is stronger than anything that was ever brought against your son. Recevez-y. Stand up on the inside and receive this. The unexpected breakthrough is not a distant hope. It is a present reality unfolding in real time, and by the time it fully manifests in the natural, you will look back and see exactly how meticulously and how lovingly God was arranging every piece of it all along. The phone is going to ring. The document is going to surface. The heart is going to change. The verdict is going to shift. And when it does, remember this moment, remember that you were told before you could see it. Because God wanted you to know that none of it was an accident. Every piece of your son's freedom was planned, prepared, and personally delivered by a God who never stopped fighting. For him, even when the fight looked lost to everyone watching from the outside. The burden is gone, the breakthrough is here, and your testimony is just beginning.